Tokyo is the largest urban center in the entire world and arguably the best city to visit as a traveler. It's easy to get around, it's safe, there are loads of things to do, and it is seriously just one of the most incredible places ever. But it can be somewhat overwhelming. So today we'll be giving you a guide to the city and a 5-day itinerary so you don't have to feel like a fish out of water when you arrive. Getting around the city is incredibly easy thanks to the interlocking network of trains and buses that will take you practically everywhere you would want to go. Before you do any riding, we recommend picking up a Suica or Passmo card, which are prepaid public transport cards that will allow you to tap to ride any train or bus. There's no difference between Suica and Passmo. They are made by different companies, but they can be used in all the same places. At the recording of this video, there is actually a chip shortage, which means it's a little bit harder to get one of these, but luckily you can purchase them at either Haneda or Narita Airport. Just make sure you do that before you leave the airport. Google Maps will be your best friend when it actually comes to finding your way around. It gives great transit directions, and I've never had it lead me astray. Just keep in mind that public transportation navigation does require a data connection to work. To that end, you'll probably also want to grab a pocket Wi-Fi while you're at the airport. Then when you're out and about, you don't have to worry about finding free Wi-Fi. A few more things you'll want to watch out for are, first, as a general rule, try not to ride the train during rush hour in the morning. If you've ever seen the videos of train station staff trying to stuff people onto the train, just know that happens almost every day in high traffic stations. And having experienced it, I would not recommend it. Secondly, some of the bigger stations are genuinely huge and can be somewhat difficult to navigate, so allow yourself ample time to get from point A to point B. Lastly, trains and buses stop running from about 12:30 at night to about 5 in the morning. So if you're planning on being out any time later than that, taxis will be pretty much your only option. Tokyo is a largely cash-based society, which means you want to carry around an ample amount of cash. Most convenience store ATMs work totally fine with foreign cards and automatically do currency exchange for you. You'll also want to bring or buy a coin purse or bag because frankly, American wallets don't cut it in my experience. And try to pay with exact change as much as possible, otherwise you'll end up with about 1 billion useless 1 yen coins at the end of your trip. Some more seasoned travelers might be nervous about carrying around less of cash, but luckily, Japan is incredibly safe and pickpockets are practically unheard of. Come dressed appropriately for the weather. During the summer, it can get really hot and humid on a pretty daily basis, so come wearing light, breathable clothes and shoes made for walking. It can be tempting to make plans on your first day in Japan, but in my opinion, especially considering the fact that you will probably have been on a plane for about 10 hours, not to mention jet lag and things like that, just plan on getting to your hotel and collapsing into bed. You'll want to get as much rest as you can so you can enjoy your limited time in Tokyo. We'll be starting off our trip in the Bay Area. Our first stop is TeamLab Planets. This is an interactive art museum that is a really cool experience and makes for a great photo. Some of the exhibits include water, which means you want to make sure you bring pants that can be rolled up to your knees. Next up, a short 15 to 20 minute monorail ride away is Odaiba. Here we've got a lot of different things to do, but we recommend spending the afternoon in the 4 malls located right on the waterfront. Or, if you'd prefer to spend less time shopping, you could also take a stroll across Rainbow Bridge. Then, we recommend having dinner at Ramen Street, which will give you plenty of different options. And then finally, you can end the day by watching the sunset over the beautiful Tokyo skyline. Today we'll be checking out a slightly more historical side of Tokyo, starting at the Chiyoda Imperial Palace. The palace is located right in the center of Tokyo and is actually still used by the emperor as his residence. You obviously can't enter most of the buildings and some parts of the palace, but the gardens are a great stroll and it's pretty cool to get a glimpse into Edo period Japan. Going along with that theme, after grabbing lunch, we are then going to head up to Asakusa. This is one of the most popular tourist spots in Japan, so be warned, it can get pretty crowded. That being said, it's a very fun area to walk around and shop, and of course the Sensoji's temple is definitely worth a visit. Just a short distance away is Tokyo Skytree, which will give you an entirely different view of the city. Skytree is the second tallest man-made structure in the world, and it's a great spot to watch the sunset. We'll then actually come back to the Asakusa area to grab a bowl of ramen for dinner and experience it at night. Most of the shops will be closed, but I personally really like the nighttime Asakusa experience. Today we'll be heading down to the south part of Tokyo to an area called Togoshi-Ginza. This is a spot that is not very well known among tourists, but it's a great spot to have all sorts of different types of Japanese street food, and we'll be coming with empty stomachs. Next up, going further down south, is Yokohama, Chinatown. Now this is a bit out of the way comparatively, but we think it's worth it. You're obviously going to have all sorts of different food options, and this is one of my favorite spots in Tokyo for photos. We think these spots should be enough for the entire day, but if you happen to get bored, the Cup Noodle Museum is right next door and is also a fun spot to visit. Today we'll be in central Tokyo, starting in Shibuya. This area is most famous for Shibuya Scramble Square, which is a crossing known for having thousands of people crossing at once. Shibuya is a great spot to explore and shop, especially if you're looking for luxury brands. Then we head north to Meiji Jingu. This park and shrine is an oasis of green in a sea of concrete. When you make it to the inner parts of Meiji, you will genuinely forget that you're in Tokyo at all. The North Lawn is also a great spot for an afternoon picnic. From there we head to Shinjuku, or more specifically, Omoide Yokocho. This small alley is a great spot for tiny yakitori joints and local izakayas. Of course, after finishing dinner here, you can then go on to explore the surrounding area here in Shinjuku. For our last day, we'll be heading to Shimokitazawa. This is where you'll be able to finish up any shopping with a variety of boutique used clothing stores that actually still remain on the somewhat cheaper side of things. Then, heading across Tokyo, we'll arrive at Tokyo Tower. This tower isn't quite as visually impressive as Tokyo Skytree, but because it's a little more central, the view actually feels pretty different in my mind, and is an excellent way to end your trip. If you're hoping to watch the sunset here, we actually recommend not going up to the highest level, as then you'll be able to avoid the crowds. Tokyo is such a big city, and really there is so much to do. Don't feel bad if you don't get to see everything this time. I can assure you that as long as you don't try to overdo it, you are going to love this city, and your trip will stay with you for the rest of your life. Feel free to check out our other guides of different places in Japan, and also check out our website linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone.